answer yes or no. Do you believe that this is now officially the Joe Biden bribery allegation? And do you believe that you will be able to prove that? Jim Comer.
I sure hope so. And I do believe that there's a lot of smoke. And where there's smoke, there's fire.
Jim Jordan, do you believe that? And do you believe the DOJ has been helping to cover it up?
Well, it sure looks that way.
Here we go again. Republican Representative James Comer hopes to prove his case against President Biden after months and months and months of claiming to have evidence that unequivocally shows that he was involved in this bribery scheme with his son Hunter. They've got yet another key witness that's going to blow the lid off of this entire investigation and prove the guilt of the Biden crime family syndicate in Devon Archer. He was one of Hunter Biden's former business associates. So, what did they find out?
This is intriguing to our viewers at home. Archer tells the House investigators that Hunter Biden put then VP Biden on a speakerphone more than 20 times to sell, quote, the brand, in parentheses, in business conversations. And Chad goes on to say that Archer testified that there was a value of adding Hunter Biden to Burisma's board, was the brand. Burisma is the energy company out of Ukraine. The argument was that then Vice President Joe Biden brought the most value to the brand. There's that phrase yet again. Archer also stated that Burisma would have gone under if not for the brand. Wow. In December of 2015, the owner of Burisma, gentleman, the CEO who ran the company, placed constant pressure on Hunter Biden to get help from Washington, D.C. regarding the Ukrainian prosecutor, Viktor Shokin. To tie this all together now, this energy company, Jillian, wanted to do business in America. There was even a suggestion through the story that they wanted to be listed on the New York Stock Exchange. But they could only do it if they got away from the investigation that was pending back in Ukraine. And this is the theory that Republicans have now, is that they had to draw Hunter Biden into it. They had to bring then Vice President Joe Biden into it to help get the prosecutor taken out of his job that would clear the runway, so to speak, in order for Burisma to have greater success in the business community, not just in Ukraine, but specifically here in the United States.
And that's their end game. Joe Biden spoke on the phone with Hunter Biden's business partners 20 times. So he must have been part of their influence scheme to legitimize their business. Open and shut case. It's a nice place to start. Maybe you have some evidence, and then you can prove that later. Now, Democratic Representative Dan Goldman was part of this closed-door testimony, and he relayed a little bit something different that the star witness said.
It was abundantly clear, and the witness stated unequivocally that there is no evidence in his possession or his knowledge that Joe Biden ever discussed business with Hunter Biden. Joe Biden ever did anything on behalf of Hunter Biden's business interests or otherwise, never changed official policy in any way, shape, or form. And in fact, the only evidence that we have is to the contrary, which is that even though it was perceived by Burisma that they had the Prosecutor General Shokin under control, quote unquote, that Joe Biden advocated for his firing, which of course was not coveted or desired by Burisma and would potentially be bad for Burisma.
So star witness Archer said that the prosecutor that many claim was leaned on by Biden for the benefit of Burisma and Hunter actually would have been bad for the company if he was fired. What about those 20 phone calls? What did they talk about?
Like most of the time, now President Biden didn't even know who the people he was at dinner. He was just asked to say hello, and he would, talk about the way he described it several times. They asked over and over and over. He described what the weather was, what's going on your end. The witness was very, very consistent that none of those conversations ever had to do with any business dealings or transactions. They were purely what he called casual conversations.
And how about that $5 million payment that Fox News' James Comer and Jim Jordan keep claiming was deposited into Biden's bank account? Star witness Archer must have confirmed that, right?
We did bring up the FD 1023, and he categorically said that he was unaware, had no knowledge of any $5 million payment made to either Hunter Biden or to Joe Biden, and would be shocked if that actually existed. And let's remember, he was on the Burisma board with Hunter Biden. So as a board member, he would have known if Burisma was paying a bribe to any of the Bidens. And we also know that it's not the case because Burisma thought...
All right, Congressman Dan Goldman there, referring to some of the...
Well, this is getting more and more disappointing for Republicans that were ready and waiting for yet another one of Comer's star witnesses to live up to all of the hype. And by the way, in that clip, did you guys notice how Newsmax bailed on the back end of what Goldman was relaying because it was the exact opposite scenario that they've been pushing for months? You can't let the audience hear more than 15 seconds of reality, or they just might start doubting all of this speculation that's being peddled as fact. Now, conservatives will see that and say, but that was a Democrat in Dan Goldman. Therefore, he's obviously lying about Archer's testimony that just happened. I guess good point. Enter MAGA Republican Andy Biggs, who's so MAGA, he was part of Trump's fake elector scheme to overturn democracy in 2020. This is what he had to say about what was going on.
Can you talk about the bribe at all? The $5 million bribe?
He didn't know anything about it.
He didn't know anything about that?
No, when it became 23, he didn't know anything about that.
Do you think today's testimony made it more likely that the president should be impeached?
I think we should do an impeachment inquiry.
It's looking more and more like this latest bombshell is bombing. So with another star witness basically disproving the case Republicans claimed he would prove, Tennessee Representative Tim Burchett, who famously said he doesn't give a hot damn about kids being murdered in his state.
It's a horrible, horrible situation, and we're not going to fix it. Criminals are going to be criminals. I don't see any real role that we could do other than mess things up.
He relayed the only thing Republicans currently have to hold on to when dealing with these disappointing witnesses.
Half the country thinks that there is no connection, zero connection between Hunter Biden and his dad. How do you break through that?
I don't buy that at all, Rob. I think they just hate Trump so much, and that they have to admit that they voted for this guy, and it's just it's a clown show. Like I've said, Barnum and Bailey Circus and called and said, hey, we want our clowns back. Well, you've got them all down there in Washington.
The plan is to plug your ears and close your eyes and stick to your claims, which are still in need of some evidence. But hey, at least your lead investigators here still have speculation to hold on to.
How real of a Joe Biden bribery scandal allegation is this?
Well, every day this bribery scandal becomes more credible. Not only was Joe Biden on the phone over 20 times with people, including the Burisma executives, talking about whatever.
You're never going to be able to trace that money for 10 years. Are you going to be able to trace that money?
Well, Mr. Comer's working on it. Our staff's working on the Oversight Committee. Chairman Comer, that's what we're trying to do, figure all that out.
All right, great work, both of you. We appreciate your time.